Who's ready to get a little bit better? Woo! Here we go. You should shout or like. Sometimes you just got to make your move. You got to get yourself in a peak state. Whenever you're watching this, master your state, baby. So let's talk about something that is extremely relevant. I know it's relevant because I've had 2 coaching calls today. One call was with a accountability partner. We do a weekly call, and there's some themes coming up, and they come from a particular tension in our lives. That if you're a business owner, you're a leader, like not just a leader, a high impact leader. We have all been in this place. I'll use the frame of business owner specifically, where we're building the business, we're doing the things, and somehow over time, the drift, falling into patterns, the overwhelm, the growth mode, whatever it is, we get into a place where we're like, I don't even like what I'm doing. We get caught up in the humdrum, the monotony, we're like, man, I'm doing stuff. I don't even love this. I actually hate this. I'm looking at a spreadsheet today. Why am I looking at a spreadsheet? And a lot of times, like, hey, there's going to be stuff in business, there's no way around this, that you don't like to do that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to develop some skills that don't necessarily lean toward your innate aptitudes or strengths. So you're going to have to do that, right? But I want to talk about this question because if you're in one of those seasons where you're feeling like you lost some of your mojo, feeling like, this is how I would frame it. How do I find my sweet spot? Like passion, calling, flow. How do I get into that sweet spot? And like sometimes you're like, I want that back, but I don't even remember what it is. Like, what is my sweet spot? Some of you've never actually lived in that sweet spot for any prolonged period of time. And I want to share, I'll share this little experience over the last 6 days, not 6 hours, 6 days. The last 6 days, I was on 3 different stages, serving 3 different audiences. One was a 2-day event. And oh my gosh, it was so fun. And talk about sweet spot and flow and passion and calling. It was like fireworks were going off the entire time. It was so much fun. And so it just led to some conversations with another friend of mine and a couple different people. And when you start to ask the right questions, it gets a whole lot easier to get into that sweet spot. Do you want to get in your sweet spot? Okay, here you go. 3 questions. Now, by the way, when it comes to sweet spot, maybe a little bit more on the calling side, there's a book, old book called Kazon. It's a Hebrew word anyway. It's by a pastor named Craig Groeschel. Amazing book. You should totally look it up. And he talks about, hey, like to find your sweet spot, he talks about like, what do you love? What do you hate? What are your gifts? And although I think what do you love? What do you hate are good questions, when I think sweet spot, I don't think as much, what do I hate? I think, what do I love? And so I'm gonna give you 3 questions that you can love, or 3 questions you can ask to find that sweet spot. Because when I say sweet spot, I mean sweet spot, sweet tooth, sweetness in life. Like, come on, it's all the good things. So question number 1, what is fun? Now, if you're a business leader, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a stay-at-home domestic CEO, I don't care what you do, but if you want to find your sweet spot, ask yourself this question: what's fun to me? Like, what do I love doing? What do I do that it just lights me up? Like, it brings joy and fulfillment and like energy. I was in this room yesterday, had about 150 people I was speaking to, and I mean, it was electric. And the audience was engaged and people were asking questions. I was connecting with individuals in the audience, and I like, oh my gosh, like I've said the word fun like 52 times in the last 3 hours, I feel like, because I had so much fun. What's fun to you? Like, do you love engaging with clients? Do you love working with younger people on your team and teaching them the ropes and mentoring them and coaching them? Do you love getting into the numbers and the analytics and the data? Like, if that's you, you do you. That would be like, like, no, not me. That's not me. That's not my sweet spot. But you do you. Like, what is fun to you? Doesn't matter what's fun to me. What's fun to you? Like, have you been doing the stuff that is fun to you? Like, you don't even need an excuse today. Find some of that stuff that's just fun to do and do it today. Do something that makes you smile. When I get on a stage, like, it's hard not for me to grin ear to ear because I'm doing what I was called to do, what I was made to do. All right. So, number one, what's fun to you? Number two, what is effortless? What's easy to you? Because there's certain things, again, that are easy to you that aren't easy to me and easy to me. Like, I've been speaking on stages for more than 25 years now. If it's not effortless and easy, I'm not doing something right. I've had a lot of practice and a lot of opportunity to connect with people and deliver content and to get into people's lives and bring transformation and facilitate transformation. And so when I get on a stage, yesterday, I didn't even have notes. I had some slides, but I literally was just going from the overflow. It wasn't that I didn't prepare. I was prepared. It's 25 years of preparation rather than putting some notes in a document. I literally said, to be honest, I was like, the slide deck's for you. That's not for me because I wasn't following my slides and I'm not a very easy person to follow necessarily. But man, they were taking notes and it was just so much fun. Certainly, it was effortless. It was easy. Talking with my friend just a little bit ago, and she's like, it is easy for me to consult with business owners and to get into their business for a couple of days and help them get out of their own way, help them break their self-sabotaging patterns, and set them loose with the right goals and the right framework. It's easy for her to do that. If you need details, message me and I'll give you her name. She can get into your business and help set you free, get you into the tactics and the details of your business. She's great at it. But what's effortless to you? What's easy? That somebody else may say, man, how did you do that? How did you do that so quick? How did you know the answers? But it's easy and it's effortless to you. Pay attention to that because that can be a clue to your sweet spot. And then lastly, this is a harder question for some of you to answer. But here's the question. What do you do better than anybody else? What do I do better than anyone else? Now, this is dangerous for me because I'm using this little illustration. I was on a stage yesterday, but when I ask, what do I do better than anybody else? I'm not going to say I do it better than anybody else, but I do it better than a lot of people. Guess what? That has a lot less to do with me being the best of the best of the best, and a lot more to do with my calling, my gifting, my passion, and doing it for 25 years. When I get on a stage, because I watch other folks and, so I'm a coach, right? My unfair advantage, as I talk about, is I was a pastor for 25 years before I started a coaching company and before I started serving my business clients. I've been serving a whole lot of people and transforming lives for a whole lot of time, but I have an unfair advantage because for 25 years, I've been figuring out how to get on stage and talk to people. Whereas a lot of people in the coaching space, not a negative, but they had other careers and they did different things, but they weren't on stages speaking a lot. So I just observe and I'm like, oh, well, they're still kind of finding themselves. Heard John Maxwell, one of the greatest speakers and communicators in history. He said, it takes you about 10 years to find yourself, to be comfortable being yourself on a stage. And I've found that to be true. I spent a decade figuring out who am I and how do I show up and how do I not try to be that other person. So for me, when I get on a stage, there's an ease, there's an effortless to it. And looking around, I can be like, man, I actually do that better than a lot of folks. I'm not getting caught up into comparison as a thief of joy. Stay with me. What do you do better than anybody else? In fact, every time you do it, other people say, man, you're better than that than anybody else. You're the best I've ever seen. You connect with people in a way that other people just can't do. You're good at just getting to the root of the problem. Man, you are the most amazing problem solver. Anytime I have a problem, you're the person I want to talk to. Man, you could sell ice to an Eskimo. I mean, come on. What do you do better than anybody else? Own it, baby. Woo! Don't hold back. Don't get that false humility thing. We're not trying to go into arrogance and stuff here, pride, but I am trying to get you to own your greatness because there's something on the inside of you that this world needs. And when you ask those three questions, what is fun to me? What is effortless? And what do I do better than anyone else? Guess what you're gonna find? Hello, sweet spot. Oh man, when I do those things, maybe there's one activity that fills all three of those things. Like me when I step on stage, man, that one thing. When I coach, when I lead a mastermind, those are things that for me, they are in my sweet spot, my calling, my flow, my passion, my gifting. And so for you, I want you to live more in that. Now, hey, there's times and seasons in our lives. And sometimes we're in a season where we're growing and we're paying our dues, whether we're building a business or building a career and all those kind of things. And so we're going to have to do things that aren't in our sweet spot. That is part of life's journey, okay? Don't be a whiner and a victim. Be like, I shouldn't have to do this. No, you're going to have to mitigate some of the weaknesses and learn how to do some things. But there's also going to be seasons when you get to a place where you can delegate the stuff that you're not the best at. I have a long list of those, by the way. I've got a long list. My friends can tell you what they are. My team definitely can. But when you can delegate that stuff and just do what you're the best at, just do what makes you come alive, just do what adds the most value to the world. And so even if you're not in that season yet, could I encourage you to take some time to jot these questions down? What is fun for you? What is effortless to you? And what do you do better than anybody else? Own that greatness that's on the inside of you. Do a little reflecting, because sometimes, like, maybe you get to shift now, or maybe you get to create a target into the future of, that's where I'm moving, because I'm going to live in my sweet spot. I'm not going to do stuff that is drudgery and like literally suffering on a daily basis. My wife gave me this language, 6 years or so ago. And she said, I want to be doing something that makes my heart sing. And since then, my wife launched an interior design business. She's thriving, like clients coming in left and right. Because why? Because she's the best of the best of the best. Well, I mean, I think she is. I mean, she is good at what she does, but because she's in her sweet spot. Flow, gifting, calling. My wife could create out of nothing, but she's in her sweet spot. What is it that makes your heart sing? That's a clue. That's fun. That's effortless. That's better than anybody else. That's your sweet spot. So reflect on your sweet spot. Get in there, because there's something on the inside of you that this world needs. So it's time for you to get off this little video right now and go out there and give that greatness to the world. They're waiting on you. Go give it away.